Oh no. Okay, so I just watched the Capcom show. I'm not even gonna watch the Razer show because I'm pretty sure it's just an ad. Most of E3 was basically an ad today. I'll be honest, I didn't watch a lot of E3 today, mostly due to having to work, but also because from what I seen yesterday, I knew that there wasn't a lot gonna be shown off today, and oh my god, it was so much worse than I could imagine. Take-Two didn't show anything. It was just a Zoom call talking about opportunities they have for minority groups and how they'll bring more diversity into gaming.
What the hell is that?
Which is an okay conversation to have, but it was a 45-minute Zoom call with like HR people. But yeah, you should have showed some games, or at least said what this E3 panel would have been. I mean, come on, it never occurred to you to say, hey, we won't be showing games here. It's just clickbait, I guess, but for what? To show how you're creating opportunities to have a diverse staff. But this is the worst way you could have done it, and it piggybacked off of Verizon, which was an ad and then ended with the same talk. It's like doing a good thing in a wrong way. Either way, life really sucks. So new opportunities is always very good for people that don't normally get these kind of things. That's all that needed to be said. And then, hey, visit the website for all these opportunities and all these like scholarships or programs or whatever. You know, write your essay, blah, 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 apply. And then boom, that's it. That's the whole show. That's all you needed to say. That's it. Does that have to do with the association of this to your company? It almost felt in a way that this was an attempt to educate the gaming community. And when having that from a company, there's actually a phrase for that. It's called virtue signaling. Anyways, I thought I would just get that out of the way at the forefront. Because yeah, I'm definitely walking away being like, yeah, this E3 was, I don't know what it was. They need to get Verizon and Razer sponsorship to make ends meet, and Take-Two using it as an opportunity to pull some PR stuff where the whole panel was clickbaity because we didn't know what was gonna happen. And yeah, there was no major reveal at the Capcom E3, and it was actually ridiculously short. Once again, just like I said on the first day at E3, my expectations are very low for this. I understand that COVID has been going on for the past year and a half. It's greatly limited teams to get their jobs done. So less is more. That's why there was so much padding during this E3, and that's what makes it so much worse. Filler and sponsors and stuff that just went on for way too long. And that's what I mean by this was a big ol' waste of time. But that's what I'm here for, because I'm going to cover all the biggest news that happened during E3. So I recorded my thoughts and reactions at the end of day 2, and I'll show that first, and then I'll show my thoughts and reactions of day 3. Mainly for today, the actual news for today is more interesting than the events of E3, so I'll be talking about that more. Anyways, here are my thoughts and a slight recap of day 2 and day 3 of E3. And subscribe if you like this type of content. Please help me hit 3K. What a waste of time. So E3 Day 2 just happened. The biggest publishers being Xbox, Bethesda, and Square Enix. And although there were so many boring points of this day, especially considering the PC game showcase and the future game showcase being probably the worst part of all of E3, there was also some highlights of E3, which means that there was actually something that made me pop off. There was 2 things that made me genuinely very hyped. So already off to a better start than the first day. Those things being Halo Infinite showing off their multiplayer, which looked so cool. I love all the new options you have with the grappling hook. Good games have grappling hooks, and the game will be free at launch. And there was so much debate about Halo Infinite potentially needing a multiplayer to survive, but no, this is a true to form arena shooter that's free to play. And Halo Infinite with its free to play counterpart is coming out holiday this year. And the other thing that made me the most hyped out of anything, and is what I'm the most hyped about so far from E3, is Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, which is a weird ass name. And why would I be so hyped over this gringy looking 2000s band looking Eminem with a sword looking ass game? Team Ninja's making it, the Dead or Alive and Neo guys, and they're making this a Souls-like game. And the thing that made me pop off the most is that this is a reimagining of Final Fantasy 1. And the end of this trailer with them walking in on Garland is the beginning of Final Fantasy 1. Having these reimaginings of the old Final Fantasy games are so cool. Like I said in that other video, a modern Final Fantasy 4 full-blown developed game for a modern console, or like Final Fantasy 6, holy shit, man, that would be so amazing. So this might be the testing ground for something like that. This game did get leaked, so we did know this was coming, but the fact that this trailer started off showing a Neo style Souls-like game, and then boom, it's just the beginning of Final Fantasy 1 is so hype. Garland's design's not even changed. It's just such a cool way to reveal it. But I'm gonna go off the script and talk about something else at the Square Enix show, because this ties into my biggest disappointment of E3 so far, which was finally the reveal for Babylon's Fall. Developed by Platinum Games, who has quickly become one of of my most favorite and respected developers. A year ago, they showed off this game. It looked like a continuation of Platinum's tried and true format. You know, the whole Devil May Cry Bayonetta type thing. Well, when we thought that Babylon's Fall was gonna be like any old Platinum game with a grappling hook, we were greeted to the game finally being revealed, showing multiplayer exploration and a much more slowed down and simplified looking ability-based combat system. And my fear was that Square Enix had repurposed this game to be a games as a service. Square is so about games as a service right now, but it's looking to be that case. We'll see. There's more news to be seen. I gotta see more of the beta. It's not that I don't think Platinum can make a multiplayer game, just it definitely looked like the combat had to be simplified with the use of wide area abilities versus precise combo based abilities like we would normally see from Platinum games. But yeah, what the hell, Square? You published Team Ninja to do something crazy with Final Fantasy 1, and then you get Platinum Games to do this shit? I was so sad. I felt like such a clown in my chair after I was so hyped, being like, finally, something I've been waiting for so long. Okay, we got something nice to look at now. But anyways, let's go through a general summary of the biggest shows. So Xbox Bethesda, I thought we were gonna see a lot because Bethesda hopefully had projects, Xbox hopefully had projects, obviously nothing new from the collaboration, mainly a release date announcement trailer for Starfield, one of Bethesda's most anticipated games that was said very loud and clearly to be an Xbox exclusive. It's coming out holiday of next year. Not much could be shown other than the cinematic, giving us an idea of the planetary exploration that we're about to do. We finally got to see Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl, which got delayed till April of next year recently. The game looks cool. I love the atmosphere. They really nailed the whole Chernobyl washed out color nuclear winter vibe. It looks like a brand new Metro game. And then the last thing from Bethesda was the actual Xbox show ender, which was another cinematic reveal trailer called Redfall by Arcane Studio, the Dishonored guys. From this cinematic, you know, there's stuff we can infer, like the setting is survivors versus vampires, but there's also robots and cybernetics and shit. Assuming you can make a guess that this is some multiplayer, maybe you play as the vampires versus the humans, or it's another PvE game, like another We Want to Be Left 4 Dead game, which, oh my god, there were so many of those at E3 this year. Anyways, yeah, not much you can say about this. This was the big show ender. But what Xbox had to show was mainly a bunch of games coming to Game Pass. We knew Game Pass would be a big factor. It was just really boring to sit through the show because everything that was on Game Pass, they had to show the entire trailer of the game just to announce it was coming to Game Pass. There was a few title trailers that I don't even care to talk about because there's nothing shown. This game looks awesome. Somerville. Outer Worlds 2 title trailer. Johnny Depp is no longer canceled. Let's go. Psychonauts 2, which it's incredible to see that Xbox is bringing back an old IP. I'd say there might be hope for you too, Banjo-Kazooie, but you just stay dead. I don't want to get my hopes up. And a big gameplay reveal trailer for Battlefield 2042. The main thing that I can think of is that they finally got Levolution down with the changing weather environments. There's so many movement options with zip lining between rooftops and squirrels glider suiting around. They had to showcase the stupid stuff people do with vehicles, and I love that shit. But yeah, honestly, a good gameplay reveal for Battlefield. Slime Rancher 2 got announced, which is awesome. We need some diversity in this show. Age of Empires 4 too for your RTS fans. And that wraps up overall the best show of E3 so far. Very, 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 very low bar set for that. Oh yeah, and there was also Forza 5. The game looks beautiful as you would expect with Forza. It's all in the villas and terrains of Mexico. And the thing that I think will put this game on the map, which is a level editor. It's gonna be GTA 5 races all over again. Now that wraps up Xbox. So coming to Square started off very interesting with a Guardians of the Galaxy game. And at first I thought this was an expansion of the Avengers game, but no, it's its own thing. You play as Star-Lord, deciding how he interacts with his teammates and even commanding them in battle. This turned out to be more of an RPG than I thought. And while we're at it, Square also had a big Black Panther update for Avengers. I think it's really strange how we suddenly got to the point where when I think of Marvel games, I gotta think of Square. I keep bringing up the analogy that Square is to Marvel games as Disney is to Marvel movies, where they do all the Marvel stuff except Spider-Man. So yeah, now Square is publishing a lot of these third-person action ability shooter Marvel games. Okay, alright, more superhero games is not bad. Final Fantasy 1 to 6 is finally getting a pixel remastered coming to Steam and iOS. This has been long awaited. The versions of these games are either the DS or iOS versions where they have chibi sprites. Now it's just remasters of the sprites used in the original NES and Super Nintendo. It's really nice to have that option now to play a version or a pixel version of the originals on Steam. But there was like no Final Fantasy in this. Everyone was obviously hoping for 16. And yeah, that's all from Square because I don't want to talk about Babylon's Fall anymore. Yes, that was the two biggest shows of yesterday. Not a lot going on. And then comes the end of E3 Day 2, which was the PC game show and the Future game show. And this was awful to sit through. So awful that I'm actually not even going to recap it. I'm serious because I don't want to sift through any of this shit. It was like 3 hours. The PC game show showed the same shit that the future game show showed, like Jurassic Park and the Dying Light trailer. I can't like recall anything interesting. Not because there weren't games I was interested, there were a few, but the insane amount of downtime of boredom between those games has completely melded that whole experience together for me. From the top of my mind, there was like this anime Yakuza beat 'em up where you beat up school children as a little anime schoolboy. That looked amazing. If I can find the footage. And that's all I care to cover from that part of E3. Day 3 today. Easily the worst day at E3. Not even gonna go through the other panels, but way forward, absolutely one today. A Blood Rain Betrayal remaster coming to like every platform. Shantae 1 to 5 on PS5, River City Girls on PS5, and the announcement of River City Girls 0 and River City Girls 2. Yep, that was definitely the biggest announcement of the day for me. For Capcom, actually nothing. It was hilarious. Like I don't believe it. They actually showed nothing. They just confirmed that there's RE Village DLC in development, which I mean, come on. We all expected it. The game is like without a doubt going to be the best-selling Resident Evil game. And then they just reminded everybody that RE-verse comes out in July. Monster Hunter Stories 2 got shown off. We've seen lots of this game throughout all of the Monster Hunter directs. There's a demo coming June 25th and a free update that comes July 15th, where they brought the Palamoo doggy, more animal friends. Now you got cat, dog, and Monsty. They also announced that Monster Hunter Rise 3.1 update will be June 24th. More cosmetics that you can probably buy. No new monsters or anything like that, but you can wear shades. Bangu! And the main focus of the Capcom showcase was the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, featuring Herlock Sholmes. This port, localization / remaster has the 2 Great Ace Attorney games, and I hope you like the bromance with Herlock, probably the selling point of the game anyways, so they doubled down on that. There's a new gameplay mechanic called Dance of Deduction, a very sexy pun, where the British banter until the case is resolved. Elementary. And that's it. I'm not even gonna cover Razor, it's probably just gonna be a bunch of ads. But let's talk about the news today. 343 put out a Halo Infinite multiplayer overview, and personally, I really like the changes they're doing to the multiplayer and the gameplay. It's gonna be much more fast-paced, with resupplies dropping everywhere for like power weapons and vehicles, new vehicles to carry stuff like objectives. Obviously, the grappling hook being the biggest addition. If Halo was never your thing, this is probably not gonna get you into it. It's definitely catered to people that have played any type of other Halo multiplayer, and I'm really glad that they doubled down into the arena shooter format. Going free to play is an amazing idea, and in terms of monetization, there is no loot boxes. There's themed battle passes that you can work towards by playing the game to unlock armor, or, you know, how the battle pass works in these free to play games. But in this case, there's no limited release on the battle passes. They just make more as time goes on, and they update it to a list of existing battle passes that players can go back in the catalog and just subscribe to any single one of them. So yeah, big emphasis on cosmetics here. There has to be some sort of monetary incentive for this. But the balancing and just bringing the arena shooter format to the absolute peak and making it as accessible as possible, Halo might have just stole E3. Not really a steal though, there was no competition. But yeah, if you were a fan of any Halo game before, especially it's a multiplayer, you should check this one out. So Everwild, a new IP that Rare is working on. People were a little surprised to see that there was no mention at all about it at E3, just hey, Jack Sparrow is in Sea of Thieves. There's a report based on multiple insiders, including Jeff Grubb, that the project might have been Metroid Prime Forward. It's allegedly been rebooted from the ground up, which sucks because this game was revealed 2 years ago in 2019. So who knows how long in development it was before then. Reports are that optimistically, it will be coming out in 2024. Report is that Greg Mail stepped in to direct the game. Greg being the designer for a lot of Rare's greatest hits, such as Donkey Kong Country, Banjo-Kazooie, and Sea of Thieves. Now this game is gonna leave my mind and I'll forget about it until we see it again in like 2 years. And for the last bit of gaming news, IGN got an interview with Miyazaki, the director at From Software, talking about Elden Ring. Elden Ring was made to feature a large open world for players to explore. The lands in between, named by Big Beard Martin himself. The big world of lands in between that you will go across with your horse will take you to 6 major areas that the player has to go to, with an obvious order given to them that the player doesn't have to follow. And this kind of hammers down how everyone used to say, when Miyazaki first created the Souls-like genre, that is basically a modern 3D version of the original Zelda. This actually sounds like a Zelda game. Big open world, you got your horse, and then 6 major area or domains that are dungeon-like that the player has to complete, and you can choose it in any order. Now that I think about it, having a open area versus not the linear regular close quarter designs that they have usually in these Souls games. Maybe allows less for a lot of BS moments where there's a big ass monster around the corner that you didn't look. That's a really good place to end the video on Elden Ring news. At least through all these boring shows and lackluster reveals, at least we have Elden Ring. And the Nintendo Direct tomorrow, they literally do not have to do anything and people will still be like, that was the best part of E3. But expect some monkey ball from Sega. Some graphics got leaked. It doesn't matter. E3's over. I don't care anymore. Excited for the Direct. Subscribe for more gaming news. But that'll be it for this one. Shout out to the members. Y'all just got dumped on. Bye-bye.